We're going to do full game previews for all of these on the channel. I'm going to bring some guests on. It's going to be awesome, but I just wanted to, at first, just do an overview. I know everyone made fun of me because I'm going to do my bracket in 20 minutes. It took me 40. I'm actually going to do 3 minutes each game. Just my initial thoughts. Just get these out to you in one video. And then if you're really about that life and you want in-depth breakdowns, X's and O's, press conference quotes, all that jazz, stay tuned to the channel. They'll be up tonight or tomorrow morning. So like, subscribe. Let's get into it. I'm going to screen share the second chance bracket on ESPN just to help me structure this. And okay, clock starting. I get 3 minutes per game. Duke St. John's. What do I think of? Obviously, Duke sleepwalking through Siena, figured it out, win the game, whatever. TCU's up in the second half. You have that goaltending call. Then you tee up Jamie Dixon, and then Duke runs away with it. Gongba back, 4 fouls in 13 minutes, but you see what their defensive identity can be like and how much closer they are to it. Not still without Foster, but with Gongba, it still makes a huge difference, right? And they still, in a game they didn't even play that well, they blew out a good TCU team, right? So Duke's back, and they're showing you it doesn't matter how you got. They're here in the Sweet 16. They're ready for a St. John's team that is athletic, physical, winners of 19 of their last 20, held on against Kansas, right? A Kansas team. Do we think Kansas is that good? By the way, I'm into St. John's. They've obviously been playing really good basketball right now, but they needed 6 Bryce Hopkins threes and a buzzer beater to beat that Kansas team. And I mean, Darren didn't. What did Darren do? I mean, not a super efficient performance, but he still got you 21. But you got nothing from these guys. They got a Cole Rosario 3 and a Melvin Council 3. They didn't have shooting. They don't win the possession battle. Kansas, I'm just not really about. Anyways, we saw what TCU can be good defensively against Duke, right? Especially in that first half. Forcing turnovers, being disruptive, just having athletes, being switchable, making life hard for Caden. And Caden's answered the call. Caden's been good. 10 assists to 2 turnovers in those last games. Can St. John's get to the free throw line? Can Zuby be successful? You need Zuby to go make a play. Made a huge play I posted on Twitter of him just going right at Flory into the shot clock, floating it up. And they got Boozer and Gongba and Malik to throw at him. I definitely am leaning Duke. I was one of the biggest Duke skeptics. Or I don't mean to compare myself to that. I'm just saying I was definitely skeptical of Duke entering the tournament. They didn't make me feel much better about it with those first halves against Siena and TCU. But when I take a step back, I still think Duke is just so connected, playing at a high level, and they don't need to even play their best to beat you. And if St. John's can't bully them, will St. John's be able to speed them up and make it an up-tempo game? I don't think they will. And in the half court, I definitely trust Duke to execute more. So I'm going to go Duke, but I think it should be a fun one in St. John's with Pitino. And the way they can defend, I expect them to totally be that game. UConn, Michigan State, there's a 1.5 point spread. First thing that comes to mind is Michigan State can probably guard Terrace Reed straight up more than a lot of teams, right? With Cooper and Kohler. That's kind of what they do. Michigan State is not turning people over this year nearly as well as you would expect. A Tom Izzo team that is this good defensively, too. 14th in the Big Ten. That's not where they win the possession battle. They win the possession battle on the offensive glass, and they love to get out in transition. But man, Dan Hurley on neutral courts, right? I know we didn't get UCLA at full strength without Bilodeau, but I understand Furman played well too, but tournament's just starting for UConn, where their goals were for this season. And I do think Silas coming back. Silas was a plus 22 against UCLA, and he was pretty damn good on Donovan Dent defensively. He's got another tough challenge with Fears, but I trust UConn on a neutral court. I think they can find ways to. It's a tougher Michigan State. If you're just running ball screens and stuff, Michigan State can make life really tough for you, right? I was all over them to beat Louisville. That was my survivor lock. I bet that. But UConn, it's much more intricate. We need to get Solo Ball back on board. I feel bad for he'll be fine. It was 13 minutes, 0 for 5 from deep. I'm staying on time right now, by the way. See, I'm doing good. But yeah, just when things do get in the back, if UConn keep them out of transition, don't get dominated in the offensive glass, which I think UConn can totally do that. Silas on fears. UConn's just a much better offensive team. Caravan was awesome last game. Demery's back. Mullins, I feel like, still can get way hotter than we've seen lately. Solo figures it out. I'm leaning UConn. This should be a really close, good game. But I believe in UConn on the neutral court, and I still think Michigan State's ceiling is limited in some of these big-time matchups when they're not turning over like that and when they're just limited offensively, shooting-wise. How did they shoot against Louisville? I forget. Pretty damn well. Shout out Trey Fort. Big game from Trey Fort and Kurt Tang. And, I mean, Fears can do this, right? He is that good. And Cohen Carr was awesome. That was one of the best Cohen Carr games we've seen. But yeah, I trust UConn's defense and their rebounding, and I think they're a better offensive team. We're going with the Huskies. Okay. Down in the South, man, Iowa, Nebraska, I haven't stopped thinking about this game for the past 36 hours. I was dreaming about this game because it's so interesting. They played two extremely close games in the regular season, 57-52 in Iowa, and I think 84-75, but in overtime when they played at Nebraska. And Nebraska has this obviously extremely unique defense of the no middle, of the trapping, of the triple switching, but they've seen it before. Iowa's seen it before, and rest in peace, Vandy. Vandy, in that second half, once they settled in, did a great job of just attacking closeouts. Everyone on the team can dribble, pass, shoot. Attack closeouts, pass. You got to be patient. You got to knock down those weak side threes because Nebraska wants you to shoot those threes. So it's huge that Cooper Koch makes shots. Fulgaris, Isaiah Howard, Tate Sage when he's in there, right? Iowa needs to play a really a really damn good offensive game. And they struggle with turnovers when they play Nebraska in the regular season because Nebraska can do some funky things like make it. They're like, look, Bennett Sturts, we're not letting you get it to the short roll. Hoiberg and Mass are just. Our hands are up, they're down, one guy's down, one guy's up, and you are not getting it to the short roll. And then it's like, okay, what do we do? Do we twist the screen? Is it pass? I just love how all the players are hold the offensive principles of McCollum so closely. Everyone is in the right spot. Everyone knows where to be, and that's late shot clock. Give it to Sturts, let him rock. And they're all patient late shot clock. Like if Sturts gets in the paint with 5 seconds left, draws a second defender, he'll spray to the corner. And Banks or whoever it is just knows it's one more. He's already making that pass. And they run through catches so well. They just do so many tiny things so well offensively. And, look, Iowa stumbled to the finish line, but, it's the NCAA tournament now. It's a new season. They out-rebounded Florida and Clemson, two of the best rebounding teams in the country. And I think they're going to eat on the glass here, too. All that to say, I do think Nebraska's a better team still. And in those matchups, there were some issues, you're always going to lose track of Sanford a little bit. Sturts is having to chase through screens and get leveled by screens. And he did a great job on it, especially in that first matchup. You're just asking a lot of him to play 40 minutes, to do everything offensively, and to chase around Price Sanford. You're asking so much of him, And Mast is hard to guard. Price is going to get free. Hoiberg played well in those games. They did a good job on Frager, who I always feel like is Nebraska's X factor. This one's so tough. My heart is telling me Iowa, though. I just think I trust Ben McCollum, and I. It's like, yeah, they need to do X, Y, Z, Z, blah, 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 to win, but I think they can do it. And they're so prepared. You have 4 days to prepare for a janky defense you've seen. Janky, I don't mean that as a slur. I just mean that as it's very different. Slur was also crazy. You get what I'm saying. It's like when Nebraska threw that janky 1-3-1 at Vandy late in the game, right? Anyways, Iowa. Illinois, Houston, this one's giving me nightmares because I got the Darren Williams jersey behind me. My camera's mirrored. I'm a Houston guy. Always loved Houston. Since the Rob Gray days. Since before the Rob Gray days. Talking Gerard Stiggers. Damian Dotson. Devonta Pollard. For the OGs out there. Did I say Stiggers? Gerard Stiggers? Anyways. Love Houston. Always been a Houston guy. Tough matchup. Because what can Illinois do? Spread you out. Everyone can pass. A ton of shooting. Kind of like the BYUs in the Big 12. Or a Texas Tech. More Mark Pope BYU, honestly. Or, I guess year one KY with Mark Pope's players. Anyways, Illinois is going to get a ton of threes up. Wagler is 6'6" and has been a great decision maker all year. Can see over those traps. And they're a great offensive. They're an elite offensive rebounding team. And Houston hasn't been a great defensive rebounding team. Sinak needs to play. Sinak needs to play really well and be a vacuum on the glass. Just grab everything. But yeah, Illinois is going to grab a lot of their misses, and then and then on the other end, Houston takes tougher shots. And Flemings needs to cook. Flemings who's in need to cook. Sharp's got to drill 5 threes on kickouts, and they got to find some second chance points as well. And they got to be disruptive. Houston hasn't been super disruptive this year compared to what we're typically accustomed with them. I know this looks like a great number, being 14, and obviously they take great care of it. Houston's not trying to turn you. I'm sorry, Illinois is not trying to turn you over though. But what was I about to click on? Okay, if you go game plan, defensive turnover rate. These are the games they lost. Didn't turn over Texas Tech, Tennessee, Arizona, or Iowa State that well in those games they lost. Like Iowa State had 3 turnovers in that game. But Houston still almost won that game. So I never mean to count out a Houston because when you think about Wagler's 46-point masterpiece at Mackey, which I always think about that game on a daily basis. I'm not joking, by the way. Like Purdue was switching everything to keep it in front, and then he just goes 9 for 11 from deep. But then finally late in the game, they throw 2 on the ball. They're in rotation. Tommy Ivisic is popping, or it's a ghost screen and Wagler's just getting it out because there's 2 on him. Illinois, Merkovich and the Viciches and Jake Davis and Hummerguts, they just have so much shooting that they're going to get those open looks. And then if they miss the 3, they can get the offensive rebound. But the difference is Houston putting 2 on the ball, even though I caveated that they haven't been super disruptive in all the games, like it's still a different level of intensity and handsiness and connectivity and how good the closeouts are. Like Purdue putting 2 on the ball and recovering to a shooter. One, you still got to make the shot. And some of these, like the Viciches haven't shot the ball great, but there's a level of speed to which Houston does those things that is just obviously much better than a Purdue. But who has Illinois really seen this year that can wreak havoc like Houston? I tweeted out that the 3 highest defensive turnover rate teams on Illinois' schedule are Houston, Iowa, Nebraska. They already played Iowa and Nebraska, but those are, less athletic teams than Houston. Anyways, I'm going Illinois, which hurts because I really want to pick Houston. I think people are underrating Houston's ability to hang in there. Like, even if Illinois has certain advantages, I'm taking Houston, man. Illinois makes a lot of sense, but I'm just taking Houston. I think they can find a way to be disruptive, and I don't trust Illinois' bigs to shoot it well enough. But this is a nightmare matchup on paper for Houston. All right, we're making decent time. You guys proud of me? Arizona, Arkansas, all over Arizona here, guys. All over Arizona. Acuff, it's been unreal watching him play. Unreal. Love it. Love it. Unbelievable offensive player. Spectacular offensive player. Defense, there's questions. And if Arkansas is down Nick Pringle again, those are 5 fouls. Ewan's been playing better than him, but those are 5 fouls you need. And look, Arkansas's winning these games, like scoring 90, but let's think about who are the good defenses they played in non-con. They played Michigan State. They played Duke. They played Houston. And I think I'm forgetting one more. Bear with me. Florida. I guess that wasn't non-con, but they played Florida. And they lost all those games, man. And they were in this one, and they gave a good fight against Duke. They were behind the whole game against Houston. Like, an elite team defensively who can win on the glass, who can also score. You guys on this channel know that Arizona's my title pick. But I just think it's a really tough task for Arkansas to guard. Arizona can throw Bradley, Korchenkov at Acuff. You have Krivas as your rim protector, not High Point's rim protector, right? Or even Vanderbilt's on a team that had a ton of rim protection. And then, Arkansas played Ole Miss and Oklahoma into one possession games in the SEC tournament. They've been unreal. Cal has been an awesome dog in the tournament as well. Not as good of a favorite, but I think Arizona's too damn good. They're my champion pick. I think they're going to win this game by double digits. I think they're just too much on the glass, too good defensively, and then the way Bradley can operate. Arkansas, look, Arizona's lost these tournament games. They lost to a historically good Duke team who just outscored them because Arizona was scoring that game. Can Arkansas do that? Can Arkansas score 100 points? Maybe. If Cup gives me 40 and everyone's shooting it well, could happen for sure. But I don't know. The teams that beat Arizona that shouldn't have are Princeton and Clemson. Bog you down half court, slow-paced games, and you're not playing through the bigs as much. You're asking for the guards to create. If this, and I don't think that's Arkansas's way of doing it. They would just have to outscore them and score like 100 points. So I'm going with the Wildcats. Texas, Purdue, all over Purdue. It's kind of a similar thing. Like, I just don't think Texas can guard them. And, like, sure, Swain, Mark, Weaver, these guys are athletic. They should be, on paper, good matchups to throw at Smith and Lawyer and these guys, but it's an outside the top 100 defense. They don't force turnovers. They foul a ton. They didn't force turnovers against Gonzaga. Just Gonzaga's not that good of an offensive team without Braden Huff. They don't have the shooting. It's all on EK. And Vukatitis has been kind of able to bully people and get to the line against every team this year, almost every team. Tough to do that on Clough, and I like that we're not really seeing Daniel Jacobson anymore. We're getting more Clough, which we need for Purdue to be at their best. Purdue's been the number one neutral court team in the country this year. 9-0. Best offense by a lot. I think Vandy had the second best offense. Shout out Vandy. And 20th best defense. Texas gets late shot clock a lot, and they're good at it. Tremont, Mark, and Swain, they find a way to get the ball in the cup. Jordan Pope's a good shot maker. I get it. Shout out Texas. Nice little Cinderella run. I think Purdue handles them. Arizona, Purdue feels inevitable. Down here, I'm going Michigan. I feel like they've kind of straightened things out a bit. To me, the key thing with them in this post-LJ Cason world is use the bigs as much as possible. You know, we should be getting as many early post touches to Merez and Adai as possible, right? And Yax will do his thing in the open court, and he's hitting threes, and Cadeau's making plays. The key thing is enforcing our will as often as possible. Because that's the thing with, like, when an Arizona loses to Princeton, it's like, how? When they had Tubelis and Ballo, a team does a really good job of not letting them get in positions where they can even get those guys, and then they're inefficient when they do have those rim opportunities, and they're not getting enough second chance opportunities. Bama's always live, right? They were unbelievable against Texas Tech. They were guarding. Charlie Wrightsell was great. Freaking Noah Williamson was hitting threes, so they have 19 threes. So I know there's always, like, there's a chance with Bama. But it feels like one of those games where Bama's going to be able to score, but they lose, like, 96, 85. They just can't find a way to get enough stops. Having good perimeter defenders is huge against Texas Tech. But against Michigan, Noah Williamson might die when he goes in there. And you're tasking a ton of Sherrell, who's not a guy who plays a ton of minutes. This is going to be very up and down. Michigan getting up and down like this, it's going to be a free-for-all. I think Michigan wins this easy. But shout out to Alabama. You know, withstood a lot of injuries this year and still played well. Tennessee, Iowa State, really tough one. Tennessee hasn't taken great care of the ball this year. As good of a player as Jacoby Gillespie is, kind of like Sturts, like everything is on his plate. And this was the second worst team in the SEC at taking care of the block. Big win over Virginia. Ament wasn't great at all. But we pieced it together. Boswell's awesome. 9 assists, hit 4 threes. Gillespie did his thing, hit big shots. And Iowa State doesn't have Jefferson. It doesn't seem like we're going to have Jefferson. I was all over Iowa State beating Kentucky because that was like a well-functioned team versus a dysfunctional team. And Kentucky got off to a big start, but Iowa State really just dominated. After that, Taman Lipsey was more aggressive. Taman Lipsey had a career high in that game. And that version of him, will that translate against Tennessee? Does the loss of Jefferson matter more here? I think it does. And I also think Tennessee being such a good offensive rebounding team, Iowa State's a good defensive rebounding team, but like there's, you know, I think that's a place that Tennessee can win is on the offensive glass. Like, duh. Like, thank you, but you're welcome. They're the number one team in the country at it. And it's bully ball and it's physical. I think Amen's going to struggle. I think Iowa State's path to winning is to just obviously do what they did against Kentucky and what they've done against a lot of teams is just be super disruptive, turn them over, and let Milan just get hot, pick sixes, and then find enough in the half court. Like, I loved how aggressive Lipsy was. That's always my knock on him, right? It's like he's an elite point guard. We want to put him with all the best point guards in the sport, but it's like this is a dude that doesn't make his free throws and doesn't really step up and go get you one. Oh, no. He can do that. He showed you that. So we need to see that, right? Because right now, Jacoby Gillespie is the much better offensive player than Lipsy because of what he can do off the bounce, his variety of finishes, his shooting. But what we saw, the awakened Lipsy we saw against Kentucky, where he was like, I know I need to be the aggressor. He did this in that game at Arizona where Iowa State got handled, which was a really tough spot playing the big Monday after that Saturday Texas Tech game. He was more aggressive that game because that's what Arizona was willing to give up, was him kind of trying to score 8 to 10 feet away. Joshua Jefferson, as you can see on the bottom of my screen, number 2 in KenPom Player of the Year. Can't say enough good things about him, even though he struggled a little bit down the stretch. Simple cap, if he plays, I'm going to go Iowa State. If he doesn't, I think Tennessee finds a way to get it done. How crazy it would be I don't think Tennessee's going to make the Final Four, but how crazy it would be if this is the year that Tennessee makes it. Where people had lower expectations of them. I'm going to be at the Midwest Regional, so I'm going to be at the Michigan-Alabama game in this game. I'm super fired up for this game. But look, even though Tennessee's had their ball security problems, they're not. These are two just such strong programs in systems, and we're gonna lose some players every year. It's the same thing, with Rick Barnes and TJ. This is gonna be an awesome matchup, and for now, I only got one upset down, so we're gonna go Tennessee. The plan of this was just talk about those Sweet 16 matchups. Those are let me do that little transition again. Those are my initial thoughts. Word vomit. Thank you for listening. Anyone in 2x speed gang, make noise in the comments. I'm a tough listen at 2x speed, but if you can do it, you're a real one. 1.5, make some noise in the comments too. If you're listening to me at 1x speed, I guess that might be normal. But yeah, we're going to do some deep dives on these games on the channel. So stay tuned. Live stream Thursday after the games with a special guest. Probably another on Saturday. Appreciate all the support. And I'm going to quickly fill out the rest of this. I'm not going to explain that. I'm just picking games. Ooh. It's spooky to have Houston going that far because I think they totally could lose to Illinois. And I had Illinois earlier. So, but is it boring if I just do Duke? I don't know. It's not about that. I don't know what's going to happen. I'm just explaining my thoughts, all right? So, thanks for watching.